Coming up, we've got 3 great new Android phones and a Cloak for your camera. It's time to watch before you buy.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Before You Buy is brought to you by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com. Before You Buy is brought to you by Stamps.com. Use Stamps.com to buy and print real U.S. postage the instant you need it right from your desk. For our special offer, visit Stamps.com now, click the microphone, and enter Before You Buy. Hey, Before You Buy is on the air. It's a TWiT show where we review all the hot new products, and we use the TWiT staff to do it, which always makes it a lot of fun. We've got some great stuff for you today on Before You Buy, starting off with my favorite priest, Father Robert Ballecer.
Hello, Leo.
Here in studio, and he is using my favorite phone. We've all got these giant phones now.
Yeah.
Galaxy Notes.
The phablet is in.
Yeah. I really like my Galaxy Note 2. This is the one I took on vacation with me because it's a phone, but it's also almost as big as a tablet, and so I can, it's really comfortable to read and type. And now I have the unlocked international version,
right?
Because I got it, before it was really available. But now it's everybody, right?
All the carriers have. Well, T-Mobile has announced it, but they haven't yet released it. So
of course, I could put a T-Mobile SIM in this.
Correct.
I have an AT&T SIM in this. It uses HSPA Plus, but you lucky fella, you got the Sprint version with their new 4G service.
Right, so this is Sprint with LTE. It's all the same Galaxy Note 2 goodness, but supposedly it has a much faster connection.
Let's take a look.
I'm Father Robert Ballecer, the digital Jesuit, host of TWiT, This Week in Enterprise Tech on the TWiT network. And I'm taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 LTE edition on Sprint. At just under 6 inches long, 3.17 inches wide, and 0.37 inches thick, the Galaxy Note 2 is the largest phone in Samsung's lineup. It sports a 1280 by 720 HD Super AMOLED screen and is driven by a 1.6 GHz quad-core Samsung Exynos processor, supported by 2 GB of system memory. The screen is big and beautiful, 5.5 inches with no discernible light bleeding and a nice warm color temperature. The screen is overlaid by a Wacom digitizer that, along with the included S Pen stylus, supports pressure-sensitive applications and a new hover mode that interacts with the S Pen even when it's not touching the screen. A nice bit of functionality when combined with the button on the S Pen. In use, the screen and processor perform flawlessly together, with fluid motion, absolutely stunning picture clarity, and enough firepower to run graphics-intensive software. Our review unit ran on Android Jelly Bean 4.1.1 and came equipped with 16 GB of internal memory and an expansion slot that could accept micro SD cards up to 64 GB. The Note 2 also supports NFC, or Near-Field Communication tags. The phone can read and program NFC tags to automatically perform functions such as opening web pages, checking into geolocating services, and sending messages. Samsung includes a 1.9 megapixel camera in the front and an 8 megapixel camera in the back, complete with LED flash. Pictures were sharp, and the specialty features like burst mode and panorama are excellent. Video was also sharp and well saturated, though it could have used image stabilization. Battery life is phenomenal, considering the size of the screen on the Note 2. The 3.8-volt, 3100 mAh battery is rated for up to 15 hours of talk and 300 hours of standby. In our rundown test, that was the equivalent of 6 hours of 100% utilization and almost 2 full days of typical use. The Note 2 supports windowed applications, probably the only phone with enough screen real estate to do it properly, and comes with the little touches that make it so functional, including a physical home button, face detection so that the screen doesn't rotate when you're reading the screen on your side, replaceable back covers, and even a warning function if you walk away from your S Pen. Also, for those who are worried about size, let me assure you that yes, the Note 2 will fit in your back pocket. As nice as the hardware is, I wasn't really evaluating the phone, but the service. Our Galaxy Note 2 unit was tied to Sprint's LTE service and is theoretically able to transfer data at up to 100 megabits per second down and 50 megabits per second up, though my results were markedly less impressive. I tested the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 on Sprint's network in cities across the country, and though the highest test value I found,
15 megabits per second down and 10 megabits per second up with a 58 millisecond ping time were acceptable, I was only able to get that speed once. Most of my results were dismal, sub-megabit speeds when LTE wasn't available or stable.
Not too long ago, Leo Laporte did a review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 International Edition, and he found it to be a remarkable phone. I really don't have anything to add above that. It is incredibly well designed. It may be big, it may be a phablet, but it fits comfortably in my hand. I mean, it feels the right size, even though it dwarfs most other phones. Also, they've designed it well. It looks nice, it feels nice, it looks sexy. And they've included all the little features, things like the accessory covers, so that I can add a cover to the phone without having to worry about a lot of additional weight or size. Things like the functionality they've added so that I can do this and take a screenshot, or the quality of the camera and the functionality of the panorama mode, or even the stylus. The stylus really is well integrated into the device. If I'm on a call and I pull out the stylus, it will automatically bring up a notepad so I can take notes and attach it to that call. It's the things like that that make this an integrated communications device more than just another phone with a bunch of doodads. If I was looking at just the phone, it would be an absolute buy. But the problem is that I'm not looking at the phone, I'm looking at the service, specifically at Sprint's LTE service. And in that respect, it doesn't do so well. I tested this phone in DC, in New York, Atlanta, Detroit, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and pretty much the only place where I could get a solid LTE signal was here in Petaluma. That does not bode well for a cell phone service that's supposed to be good where people actually live. In fact, when compared to my Galaxy Nexus on T-Mobile's HSPA Plus, well, this just got beat. In fact, it didn't get beat, it got spanked. This had an order of magnitude faster bandwidth on average, in aggregate, than the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. And more than just speed, it's the reliability of the connection. You see, this using HSPA Plus, if I need to hand off to GSM down to 3G, I pretty much always keep the call. There may be a hiccup or two, but I almost always continue my cell phone call. I almost always continue my data stream. With LTE, right now they don't have a really reliable way to hand down if I have to go from an LTE service down to 2G, 3G, CDMA. What that means is that especially on a network like Sprint's, which is not, well, mature, I'm always going to be dropping calls. I'm always going to be dropping the data stream. In fact, on the way up to the brick house this morning, I was trying to use this to stream the TWiT stream, and I had to restart it no fewer than 4 times. That's just not acceptable. If I'm looking at this and I have to give you a buy, try, or don't buy, unfortunately, because of the immaturity of the LTE service on the Sprint service, I have to say it's a definite don't buy. This has been the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 LTE on Sprint.
We'll have to keep an eye on that because Sprint is rolling it out. In fact, it's not official even in Petaluma,
Right.
the place where you got the best service. And so once it's official, once they say, okay, we're no longer pre-release, maybe we can try it again and see if it's a little better. There's one thing, though, that I'm a little jealous of. Yours comes with this Samsung case. I've seen this in the ads for the Galaxy S3. It's interesting because it integrates into the back. It replaces the existing plastic back on the Galaxy Note 2. So you don't mind if I just
No, not at all.
pop off this white battery back and put this back on it. And I think this is a very nice way to make a case for a phone, especially because they're interchangeable. It's really on there solidly. It protects it. And it doesn't add to the thickness of the phone overall, which is really nice.
That's a big thing because a lot of people don't want to put their phones in the cases because it adds depth, it adds weight.
Especially a phone of this size. Right. Let's not make it any bigger than it already is. Samsung sells that separately, I think, for the phone. But it came with our Sprint, so I wonder if they're shipping it that way.
I think they, if you buy like the starter kit, they'll give you all the accessories plus an extra case.
I like that. Yeah. I really like it.
It's a great phone. That's the sad thing.
Don't you love the phone?
It is an awesome phone. It's just the service is such a big detractor. But you've been using the international version with AT&T.
And it's HSPA Plus, and it's fine.
It works just fine, right?
Yeah. Maybe we'll look at the Verizon one next and see how it's doing, because I was getting great results on Verizon on the iPhone 5. They really are fast almost everywhere. Thank you, Robert Ballecer. TWiT is every Monday. What time?
Noon. And if you join us live and jump into the chat room, you get to see some of the most brilliant engineers and the funniest trolls in internetdom.
And sometimes they're the same.
Most of the time, they're the same people. You know?
12 noon, 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's 1800 UTC on the TWiT. No, I'm sorry, 2000 UTC on the TWiT network. TWiT.tv. Thank you, Robert. Coming up in just a bit, Shannon's going to review the new LG Optimus. This is, I think, the same phone that Google is selling as a Nexus 4 with a few added features. We'll talk about that just a bit, but I want to talk right now about Stamps.com. We do a lot of mailing here at the Breakhouse. In fact, anybody who does a lot of mailing should know about Stamps.com. It lets you print official U.S. postage from your computer and your printer. That's all you need. If you go to Stamps.com, you could see that ad directly, but you don't need them. You just listen to me. Stamps.com, for anybody who does a lot of mailing, especially if you're eBay or Amazon or Etsy or PayPal seller, it'll take the data right from the web page. You get discounts you can't get at the post office. Right now, we've got a special no-risk trial. No, wait, stop. Brian, don't click the $80 offer. Click that microphone in the upper right-hand corner at Stamps.com. Use the offer code before you buy. Click go, and that $80 value turns into a $110 bonus offer, including $55 of free postage, this scale, which I love, the USB scale, and a 4-week trial of Stamps.com. It's a great way to get your mailing done faster, easier than ever before, and never again will you go to the post office. Stamps.com. Our producer on the show, she's been with us now a month. Yes. And we just think she's the greatest, Shannon Morse.
Thank you very much.
So glad to have you as part of the TWiT family.
Thank you.
Have you been enjoying doing Before You Buy?
I have been having so much fun.
Because you get to look at great stuff.
Yeah, it's like Christmas every day that I go into.
I just was in your office. You've got a pile of stuff we're going to be reviewing in future shows.
We have tons. We got cell phones today, and we have the Cloak camera bag from Tony. But
I didn't show you. Robert has that new Acer Windows 8 laptop touchscreen. That's going to be cool. Yep. He's going to do that in a week or two.
Yeah, we'll be showing that off.
What do you have?
So I have the Sprint LG Optimus G.
All right.
LG Optimus G.
I'm sorry, that's going to come up in a second, but I did this out of order because Tony Wang's sitting over there. So that was a tease. That was a tease. Snubs will be back with the Optimus G. This is what I think is basically what Google's selling as a Nexus 4.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, with the LG additions on it. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm sorry, Brooke has to move the cameras again because I want to say hi to Tony Wang. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how are you?
How were things when I was gone? Everything go okay?
We're still alive.
Tony, our editor-in-chief, has a, now I call it a bag. You say it's a sack.
Well, it's a cloak.
What is that? It's the silliest thing I've ever seen.
It's a kilt for your camera.
A camera kilt. We give Tony all the camera stuff because he's a very good photographer. What is that for?
It's a camera bags for times when you want to be conspicuous and nobody can tell you're holding a camera bag.
It just looks like you're an idiot holding a bag to your head. Let's take a look.
I'm Tony for TWiT.tv and Before You Buy, and today I'm reviewing the Cloak camera bag. And it is the world's first shoot-through camera bag. So it's open on top and bottom, so all you have to do is pick up the bag and start shooting. The bag is really well made, and the opening mechanism is using a zipper, and you can actually close the bag onto itself using Velcro. The bag retails at $69.99, and you can find it for much less online. And the camera bag comes with a strap, and the strap actually attaches to your camera, like a camera strap would. And then the bag itself attaches to the strap, as well as on the bottom of the camera, uses the camera mount, the tripod mount, and you sort of screw it into your bag. The bag is semi-hard, it's a denim material, but it doesn't really provide much protection in terms of shock. It is weatherproof, so it is waterproof to a certain extent, so I guess I would say splash-proof. Pros of this bag, it's really well made, and the design is pretty ingenious. If I had to design a bag myself to shoot through for a camera, it would look just like this. So the con of this bag is that it's kind of hard for me to operate it. I'm not really used to it. There's barely enough room on the side of the camera for me to get my hand through. And I have a 5D Mark II with a 50mm lens. You can probably fit a 135mm lens in here and close the bag still. It definitely won't fit a 70-200 zoom lens. So buy, try, or don't buy, I will give this camera bag a try. As you can see, it doesn't really fit every camera very well, and my 5D Mark II barely fits. It's very snug. And so if you have a smaller sensor camera, like a APS-C sensor, this would fit just fine for you. I'm Tony for TWiT.tv, and this is the Cloak camera bag.
Wait a minute. Now this is, well, okay, I'm wearing this, and I'm going to, it doesn't look like, it looks like a bag, so that's, I guess that's where you're anonymous, but the minute you hold a bag up to your eyes and take pictures, you're going to, Tony, did you take this out in public?
Yeah, it's actually much worse than just bringing out a camera.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Yeah,
it's like it's saying, look at me, I'm a weirdo. I'm taking pictures of you surreptitiously, except there's nothing surreptitious about it.
If it's a visible cloak, then yeah, that'd be great, but it actually draws more attention than the warrants, so.
Was it a little weird taking pictures with it?
Yeah.
Did you run back in for cover? Because I would have. I would have been embarrassed to carry this around.
Yep.
All right. It is nicely made, and it looks good.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it. And you apparently neither do you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tony Wang, editor-in-chief at the TWiT Network. Very interesting, but weird. Now, let's say hi again to Shannon Morse, our newest staffer on
I have to say, that's
it's
one
weird.
of the funniest things.
Where did that come
Don't
from?
point that at me.
Yeah, no pictures, no pictures. Miss Morse is not posing for pictures right now. So Shannon, you get to pick which ones you want to review, right?
Yeah, because I'm the first one that
works?
gets to see
Yeah,
it.
you open the boxes.
Yep.
Why did you decide you wanted to review this?
Well, I was interested in it because it's one of the first LG phones that I've actually gotten to play with, and it looked really nice. It's very, very pretty and sleek, and I heard that it was very good. It was very fast and responsive, so I wanted to prove it for myself and see if that was actually true.
Now, you're talking to a guy who has a 5.5-inch screen. How big is that screen?
This one is about 4.7 inches.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's huge.
It looks certainly usable. Was it, now you're much more petite than I am, was it usable? I mean, was it all right?
For my actual hands, no. It's not very usable for my hands because I got little hands. So when I compare this to the iPhone 5, the
Which is
iPhone
much
5
narrower.
is much more usable for, you know, my little girly hands.
Right.
But all in all, I got to say the 1280 by 720 display that they have, it's full HD IPS plus LCD, so it's really, really nice. And
wait a minute. Okay, now you just did the unlock gesture. This is an LG special. They call it the dewdrop?
That's called the dewdrop, yes.
So you press the unlock button, and it looks like a drop of water that expands to, I think that's a sweet effect.
Yeah, that's a really cool effect. But unfortunately, if you care about security, you still have to have your PIN code.
I know,
or your
I never
password
see
on
any
there,
of those effects.
So we don't get to see all the pretty special effects.
All the manufacturers have their own customizations. That's why Google sells a Nexus phone, so that you get a plain Google experience. How is the LG customization?
LG has really nice customization features in it. It comes with a little bit of bloatware as far as the applications go.
That's from Sprint.
Not much.
Probably, right?
LG.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they have a few things built in as well. But you can delete everything, so it's not really a big deal. One of the things I wanted to discuss today and focus on was the camera. Altogether, the phone is really nice, but when you click into the camera, I noticed that even though it's 13 megapixels, it's not really that great.
13 megapixels?
13 megapixels.
Wow.
So you would think, oh, these pictures are going to be great.
Well, the only thing weird about it is it's not very accurate. It makes Father Robert look like Jason Howell. I don't understand how that...
Yeah, it took away my collar.
So
What's going on here?
What happened here? That's crazy.
I think we had a little casting switch there. So you didn't like the image quality out of it?
Yeah, I didn't like the image quality that much. I was trying to take pictures of my cat. I'll show you some of those.
A little green looking.
Yeah, my little kitty, and the color was a little off.
Yeah.
And you can change the color settings to auto or fluorescent, sunset, or whatever what you have. But when I was trying to take pictures of them moving around and trying to focus, I would have issues with it suddenly blurring and then getting nice and static again.
The iPhone 5 is your day-to-day phone?
The iPhone 5 is my day-to-day
And despite the fact that it's 8 megapixels compared to the 13, you like it better?
The iPhone has better pictures.
Yeah,
much better quality.
It's not really the megapixels. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into making great images.
Videos are a lot better. I did take a video earlier today of Alex when we were out at our little breakfast. And other than the fact that there's a lot of lighting behind him, the sound quality is really nice, so the microphone is just great, and the speakers are just fine.
Is it 1080p video?
Yeah, it's 1080p video.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
When we started doing Mac Break in 2007, we spent Alex spent over $100,000 for a 1080p video camera.
Oh my gosh.
That's 5 years ago.
No, thank you. I'll spend like $100
This comes with the phone.
That.
Wow.
It can take panoramic camera pictures as well, but those it bugged me so much because when I use my iPhone and take panoramic pictures, I can just go along and snap the picture. This one, when you start taking the picture and you go around, it goes, "Oh, you're going too fast.
Right.
Slow down," like every 2 seconds. So you can't take a really good panoramic picture unless you're going at like, the slowest speed ever possible.
Right.
It's really bad.
Not as good as the iPhone.
Another thing about the camera that really bugged me is this thing called voice cheese shutter. It's the stupidest thing ever.
This is an LG specific thing.
So,
wait a minute. It listens for you to say the word cheese?
Yeah, so it says to take a photo, say one of the following words. And you can say cheese, smile, whiskey, kimchi, or LG.
Say kimchi.
Yeah, so
and then when
I'll
you do,
say,
they say kim. Okay, let's try it.
Kimchi. So I can take a picture of you.
Say kimchi.
There you go. So it takes a picture of you. You can do the same thing with cheese.
Cheese. Cheese.
There it goes.
I think you're supposed to say it.
No, you say it.
I say it?
Yeah. Whiskey.
Whiskey.
There it goes.
More whiskey. Lots more whiskey. Okay. Huh. That's interesting. It does work.
Stupid.
Wow.
It's horribly dumb.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as the specs go, it's really lightweight. It's only 5 ounces, so it's nice.
It looks thin and light. It really does.
Very
it actually looks
lightweight.
beautiful.
The design quality is gorgeous.
It's a little square.
It is a little square, but the rounded edges take that away. So, it's nice.
Yeah.
And then the screen fits from all the way down here, all the way up here. So there's not a lot of extra space at the top and the bottom.
Which also means that despite the fact that it's a 4.7-inch screen, it's not a giant phone.
Yeah, exactly. So they still were able to minimize it into a smaller space. 5 ounces, so decent size. And it's made out of 50% recycled plastic. I thought that was kind of cool because they're trying to go very green with this.
I see even the Sprint packaging is recycled
It's made out of recycled and soy ink, too.
Oh, that's neat.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool for anybody who wants to go very green with it.
How about battery life? What kind of battery life were you getting?
About 13 hours or so.
That's good.
Yeah, so it has a 2100 milliamp per hour
Pretty big for
battery.
a phone that size.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I was able to use it over the weekend when I went down to LA for Thanksgiving, and it worked just fine. I was able to, pull up Twitter and Facebook and all those social networks and just go nuts on them for the whole day, and I had no problem. I was able to surf for Black Friday.
Forget turkey. I'm taking pictures.
Yeah.
And tweeting.
I noticed something cool, too. I don't know if this happens on all LG phones or just this one in particular, but when I pull up something like Facebook that has a lot of information on it on the news feed, I can scroll down with just a little tap, or I can go really fast, and it seems to change the speed depending on how fast you're moving.
Yeah, ballistic scrolling. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's a little feature, but I found it to be really useful, especially on Twitter and Facebook.
Is this an LTE phone?
Yes, it is. It's LTE.
Would you echo Robert's thoughts that Sprint LTE is not quite yet ready for prime time?
So when I was driving down I-5 in horrible, horrible traffic, and I was trying to watch podcasts.
And you weren't driving. Somebody else was driving.
My fiance was driving. It was okay. Yeah, I was not driving, so I was in the passenger seat. I was comparing the service between my iPhone on ATE, or AT&T LTE, and then the Sprint LTE. And I got to say, surprisingly, AT&T was showing me LTE 4G bars whenever this was completely out of service.
Right.
And I wasn't able to get any kind of data on it.
Sprint's way behind on their LTE rollout, but they're doing it as fast as they can. But again, it's early, but you're buying the phone for what it can do today, not what it might be able to do in months to come. So
this is a really fast phone. It's got a 1.5 gigahertz processor.
Dual core?
Yep. Quad-core.
Quad-core.
Quad-core Snapdragon.
Okay,
Yeah,
very nice.
so really, really fast. It's very nice and very quick. And it has Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich.
4.0, not 4.1.
Yeah, not
That's
yet.
a little bit of a disappointment.
They do say that it's going to be updated in the next couple of months. So
Yeah,
that's
you
what
hear
LG
it.
is saying.
Yeah. There's another reason why people go with the Nexus, because they want they want Jelly Bean. They don't want to go with ice cream sandwich.
That's true. That's true. So also
Actually, not
it
even
has
Jelly Bean. It's Jelly Bean 4.2.
gigs.
Yeah.
It has 24 gigs internal storage, but there's
Wow.
no micro SD card slot.
Okay, so that's all you're going to get.
Yeah, that's all you're going to get, and what you see is what you get. And also, it has NFC already in it, and it does come with an NFC tag for the Sprint one.
Removable battery?
No removable battery.
That's why they get it so thin, because you're stuck with that, and that's why no SD card.
You can't take it apart. And the back, even though it's really pretty and really shiny, and it has this very cool design to it,
fingerprinty.
It picks up so many fingerprints.
I can see that from here.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I gotta say, when I looked at this, I was just like, oh God, that's one reason why I wouldn't choose this phone particularly, because of that design, that little flaw, even though it's gorgeous.
Well, also no expandability and some limitations. So buy, try, don't buy.
I'm going to give it a try. So the pros and cons real quick, those would be it's very fast and powerful, so it's really quick. It's got pretty good video. The camera quality on still photos is horrible. Video is pretty good.
That's too bad.
Yeah. It's got some nice social features with like the scrolling, and it has this thing called the Social Plus favorites, so you can add your friends here and look up just them.
That's an LG
on this
specific.
Pace. Yeah, this is LG specific, and it also has a beautiful screen. I mean, that's a great resolution.
I do like the screen. Is that LCD IPS?
Yes, it is. It's IPS. So it's very pretty. And the cons, of course, the still photos picks up a lot of dust and handprints and any kind of moisture, any kind of dirt, and the service with Sprint, of course. It costs about $200 if you buy it on contract, or $500 without the contract, and I give it a try.
I would say that if you're a Sprint customer and you want to stay with Sprint and you're going to get a new phone, do get an LTE phone.
Yeah, definitely
of some
do get an
kind,
LTE
because
phone
you're going
of
to want to be
some
ready
sort.
for that network.
Definitely.
And it's much better than the old Clearwire.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Shannon. Shannon Morse, our producer for Before You Buy. Coming up, Jason's got yet another Android phone.
Yet another LG Android phone.
All right, we'll take a look at that in just a second. But first, I want to show you what I got in the mail. Do you like cheeses, salamis,
I love cheese.
oil and vinegar?
Sounds very Italian.
I got my box of awesome. Every month, I get these packages. So this is a great gift idea for anybody, any guy in your family. Bespoke Post. Every month you get a new package. This is the new package this month. I love this. This is the cheese slate. So the idea is you put a cheese on here, and then you can write the name of the cheese. Isn't that nice?
That's cool.
Yeah, you can write the name of the
Great
cheese
for a
on
party.
there. Yep. And we've got a little salami. This is really good, by the way. The Casalingo Criminelli salt and pepper salami. I've never tried this. Rick's Picks Smokra. Pickled okra with smoked paprika.
Ooh.
Really?
Yummy. I love okra.
Really?
Yeah.
Open it up. Let's see how it is. A little balsamic and extra virgin olive oil. This is the kind of thing you get. $45 for the first month. Actually, it's $50 if you get 1 month. You can subscribe to Bespoke Post. Let me get the prices here. Are you opening it?
I tried. I'm making Jason do it.
Well, he's a big, strong guy.
He's got it.
Boom.
Boom.
Bam. It's like, yeah, muscle man.
If you want 3 months, $135, half a year, $270. But if you go to bespokepost.com/twit, you get 20% off your first month subscription.
That smells so good.
Bespoke Post. Does it? Go ahead, try it.
Well, I got to cut them up with something.
Oh, we'll have some
just eat
salami.
'em.
just take them out there and let it drip all over the table. And
Yeah.
It's our box of awesome. Sarah won't mind.
oh, no, sure.
Yum.
Bespokepost.com/twit to save 20%. Isn't that nice? I'm really excited about the cheese. The whole idea is, it's as if these are curated gifts. So you don't have to think about it. You just get the package, and your friend will get it every month. Something wonderful.
Or you could buy it for yourself, and then it's like you're getting a gift from someone every month.
That's true, because you don't have to. You just say, "I'll take it."
Yeah.
I never thought of that. So for the lonely people,
There you go.
there you go.
Oh, you sent this to me?
Oh, thank you. Jason Howell is here. He produces TNT and hosts a show which is going to be a little late today.
That's okay.
All about Android.
I think everybody knows at this point.
At this point, we're running a little late. We do the show just before All About Android, but we're going to stick an iPad today in there in the middle.
Yep.
Because Sarah's going to France. So what did you got? You also got an LG phone.
LG Spectrum 2.
All right, let me get
and this is actually on Verizon. I'd say that this phone is, aside from the phone that you reviewed, Shannon, this is more targeting the mid-range. It's $99 with a 2-year contract on Verizon.
The Optimus G was for the higher end user.
Yeah, how much was that? A couple of $100 for?
Yeah, it's $200 on contract.
And the quad-core processor kind of boosted into that zone. Nowadays, you're seeing the quad-core being kind of the upper kind of tier of Android phones. This is still a dual core, but it's a respectable 1.5 gigahertz dual core Snapdragon S4.
I think that's fast enough for most people.
Totally. I mean, honestly, that's one of the things that I really was impressed with on this phone. Anytime that the word mid-range phone comes into the conversation, you sort of lower your expectations. And just the reality is some people, that's fine. That's good enough. Or $100 is all they have to spend on a device. And honestly, this device performs really well for $100. It's right up at the top as far as in the Verizon catalog of devices anyways.
And it's a gig of RAM, which is a lot of RAM.
1 gig of RAM. That's plenty. It's efficient. I really found that just moving around the interface.
It does feel snappy. Look at that.
Yeah, it's definitely snappy, and it kind of jumped around. I played games on here. I played Dead Trigger. It seems to be my go-to game for testing how a game performs because you really see when it starts to stutter if it's going to. And it really didn't slow down on this device at all. I was pretty happy with it. It has the 4.7-inch HD IPS display, I think the same display that you have in the device that you reviewed, Shannon. 16 gigs of internal storage with a micro SD card slot. So I'll pop off the back here.
So removable battery too, which I think is so important.
Yeah, removable battery.
I like to buy 2 batteries whenever I get a phone.
Oh, totally. I mean, having that option just makes a world of difference. 2150 milliamp hour removable battery. I found it to be perfectly sufficient for my use. I know some other reviews have said that, it didn't quite perform as long as they had hoped, but it got me through the days. And, anytime I'm reviewing a device, I have it syncing, Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter on regular intervals as well. I'm using it throughout the day as I would a normal phone. So I was pretty happy with it. 8 megapixel rear facing camera right up there at the top. And that is also capable of 1080p video.
It's so interesting that they put 13 megapixels into the LG Optimus G and the mid-range. No, this is the mid-range.
This is more the mid-range.
That's why. Okay, so it's a lower megapixels, but 8 is still. How did you like the camera?
8, as they say, 8 is enough.
Great. 8 is enough.
Yeah, no, 8 is okay. I would say overall the camera didn't totally disappoint me, but it was a little finicky. Like some of the stuff you were saying about your device, which I actually have right here so you can see side by side. Some of the stuff you were saying as far as the camera performance, I would kind of agree. There were times where it would kind of get a little washed out, a little overblown, blurry with motion. Bad light performance was a little grainy, but I just feel like you see that kind of grain and bad light most of the time with most phones out there.
I'm wondering if it's a sensor or if it's LG's camera software.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that it's the sensor, but I mean they're sporting different sensors. If one is capable of more than the other.
Both are having problems apparently.
Yeah. As far, what else is it? NFC is included here. Actually, it does have these tags with it, and these are 2 NFC tags that it comes with. One that pops it right into car mode, so I'll go ahead and hold it.
So you'd put that on your dashboard.
Oh, you know what? It needs the back because the antenna is built into the back there.
Interesting.
So let me put that on. And then, so if you have a all-purpose, let's say, car mount for your device, you just tape this on the back of it. And then when you put your phone in, it automatically launches you right into navigation.
That's great.
So that's pretty sweet. Yeah. And then if I hit it again, it should deactivate it.
I like that.
Yeah, it prompts me to deactivate it. There's another one for office mode, which puts it into vibrate as well as turns Bluetooth on. So you could have that at your office and hop there easily.
This is Verizon's LTE. Verizon's LTE, in my experience, has been very good.
Oh, it's great.
Getting good results?
Super solid. Yeah, and very fast transfer speeds. And again, I didn't take it off of 4G, and I hardly had it on Wi-Fi even because I was out all the last 5 days of last week with the holiday traveling through San Francisco and back. So it was hardly on wireless, always on 4G, and fast speeds, battery lasted. I was very, very happy with that.
Now, don't tell me it's ice cream sandwich.
It is. It's 4.0.4 ice cream sandwich. The difference here from what you were saying, though, is that they haven't really announced any sort of Jelly Bean upgrade. It's nearly impossible for me to believe that they won't at some point, but who knows when that's going to be. You're just kind of playing the waiting game.
You're the host of All About Android. What is your take on this? Should somebody is Jelly Bean that much better than Ice Cream Sandwich?
Jelly Bean, when Jelly Bean came out and after the first few weeks of playing with it, I think I even made the comment on All About Android, and I don't know if many people agreed with me, but I almost thought it was more important in some degrees to the progression of Android than even Ice Cream Sandwich.
I agree 100%.
Ice Cream Sandwich did a lot to the visual delivery and kind of the overall look and feel of the platform and kind of maturing it a little bit. Jelly Bean takes all of those things that really need refining, like lag, and just it irons them out to the point that any person that picks it up might ding a phone based on some of the imperfections of Ice Cream Sandwich, and they aren't going to find that in Jelly Bean.
I agree with
and
that.
So once Jelly Bean hits this device, it's gonna make it even better. I think that's the same with any Android device.
Let's get pros and cons.
Well, pros, definitely the display. That's, I mean, hands down, that's the killer feature of this device. I mean, when you're talking mid-range phone, this is 1280 by 720, super bright, excellent display. I was really happy with it. In fact, I have it a little too bright for the video. Sorry about that, guys. Fluid and responsive, definitely. The S4 1.5 gigahertz dual core is perfectly capable, especially for a $100 phone. And it actually has wireless charging. I didn't mention that. So you can actually get a wireless charging mat and charge it
I like that feature.
So that's pretty cool. The cons, I'd say the design, I like some parts of it. But as you can see, when you compare it side by side, it's square versus the rounded edges. And strangely, that makes all the difference in the world. It actually makes the device feel bigger. If I put it up next to my Galaxy Nexus that feels smaller, they're the same. It's just that rounded edge on the Galaxy Nexus really makes a big difference as far as how you perceive it in size. And also the power location up here was really kind of fiddly. And then the camera, I'd say there were issues with the camera as well. But overall, great choice for $100 of Verizon. When you aren't in the thick of the holiday buying season, because Verizon's has a lot of sales, so you might be able to get an even better phone than this for close to the same price. But afterwards, definitely a buy.
A buy it from Jason for the LG Spectrum 2.
That's right.
Wow. I think we've seen a lot of phones today. This has been a good show for Android, interested Android users. Thank you, Jason Howell, producer of TNT. All About Android's coming up a little later on, as it does every Tuesday, about normally 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Just subscribe to it. It'll show up sometime tonight.
Guaranteed. You get it guaranteed when it's available. Thank you, Jason.
You bet.
Thank you, Snubs. Shannon Morse.
Anytime.
Really appreciate it. Tony Wang, our editor-in-chief, and Father Robert Ballister for your reviews. Thank you for joining us. We do this show right after the GizWiz show on Tuesday afternoons. It should be around 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific. That's 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern time, 2200 or thereabouts, 2300 UTC. And we love it if you watch live, but if you don't, as Jason said, you can always get audio or video versions on demand at twit.tv. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Remember, you got to watch before you buy. Take care.